my friends, glad you're here with me today for another top 10 video. I have so enjoyed making these. I've really stuck with drugstore so far, but I may branch out into some high-end brands soon. But it's really fun to look at a brand that you're very familiar with and just sort out what are the very best pieces of this brand. And I'm not doing them top 10 leading up to like a #1 ultimate favorite, but I'm actually applying as much as I can on my face through the video and just showing you chronologically, like, here are 10 of the best products they make. And a neat thing you can come away seeing is usually like, what is the strength of the brand? Like, was she able to put together a whole complexion routine with products that were favorites of that type? Or were there tons of eye products in this video, or lips? Like, you can kind of see where the strength of a brand lies. And in case you were wondering, so far I've done a L'Oreal top 10, a Maybelline, Rimmel, and e.l.f. e.l.f. was my first one in this series. So I'll make sure to link to those below if you want to check out more. Wet n Wild is a very frequently used brand for me. So a lot of these things, like if you watch my videos regularly, I think you're gonna know a lot of the things coming in this video. And I'm sorry if that makes it kind of anticlimactic for some of you, but these are true favorites, like tried and true, frequently used. I love this brand, but I also just thought this would be a good resource for somebody who maybe doesn't see everything I do and is searching out like best from Wet n Wild, and maybe they'll discover this video. But yeah, I'm really proud of Wet n Wild for how far they've come. They went from, in my early makeup using days, being a brand that, you know, maybe you'd grab a lip gloss or a nail polish from. Yeah, they had nail polish back in the day. And you really never expected great quality, to a brand that completely revamped eyeshadow. I think is single-handedly responsible for changing the game of eyeshadow in the drugstore, making so many other brands level up. They're incredibly strong with complexion products now, no shortage of good lip products to try, and yet they're keeping the price really low, much lower compared to some of the other big brands in the drugstore like Revlon, CoverGirl, Maybelline, L'Oreal. One area where you might see the price jump a little bit for Wet n Wild is if they are putting out like a limited edition collection. You might see a product that's real similar to something you already have, but because they've put it in like the Marilyn Monroe packaging or Sesame Street packaging or whatever kind of collab is going on there, because they've repackaged it, it could be a little more expensive. But just core products in the line, my goodness, there's so much great stuff happening from Wet n Wild. So I've already got my skincare on. We're gonna start off with my, well, numbers 1 and 2 here at the start. I've got 2 different complexion things, all over coverage type products that I adore. So one is the Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. This is for the people who want to keep it lighter, more like a tinted moisturizer, although the coverage veers a little toward medium with this. I absolutely love it. There are so many things I try in this ballpark that I just compare back to this because it's so good. I wear the shade Light. Hyaluronic acid and squalane, oil-free. They say sheer to medium coverage. Just a really fantastic product. I've recommended this to so many people. They get back to me. They're like, I love that stuff. So really good if you just want something that's a little bit lighter feel, offering a little bit of moisture, but kind of maxing out on medium coverage. If you want something that gives more of a medium to full coverage look, check out the Photo Focus line. This is Photo Focus Matte. They also have a dewy version. So dewy version, naturally that's going to have a little bit more glow on your skin. I feel like there's a fairly profound staying power difference on my skin between the two, and the matte wears the best on me for like all day wear. So I have soft beige in that. Absolutely love it. Great, great coverage product. I could link to multiple videos below where I've worn both of these. So I think I'm going to do the Photo Focus Matte today, but I'll link you below to a video where this gets applied as well. Just great stuff. So we shake it up, and this is the one product in the drugstore that's working with this little spatula type of applicator. And at first I feel like I might have been pretty critical of it, like, why do we have this? But these days I'm just like, yeah, frost the cake, you know, it works, whatever. I'm taking my Profusion buffing brush here, and no, I did not put on any particular primer, and I'm just kind of buffing this around on my skin. It's just beautiful coverage every time. I think I said my shade is soft beige. That's really, really workable for me. And anytime I wear this, you know, immediately you're thinking about, wow, that's really nice coverage. But it actually is an incredible staying power foundation. Like, it's up there with some of my best in terms of long wear foundations. That's not always the selling point that goes alongside this product, but it does really well with that for me, especially the matte. I would say I feel like I got a fairly light amount. I think I'm dwindling in my bottle here, so when I swipe it around, I'm not getting as much as I maybe once did. I'm not a complete full coverage, but a really strong medium, verging on full, just judging by how much it's kind of covering up little freckles and just taking care of certain imperfections that are kind of a gauge for me on my skin. So 2 great coverage options, 1 lighter, 1 stronger coverage. Number 3, I do have a concealer to name from this brand, and it's their MegaSlicks Incognito Concealer. I'm not just naming this for the sake of let's try to get through a full face of Wet n Wild. I'm naming the things that are definitely my favorites, and this makes it into that bunch. So I remember when I first used this, I felt like I didn't have the best take on this, but I've definitely continued to use it. I've repurchased it, and I've realized that if I just apply a little bit more of this compared to what I do with e.l.f. camo concealer, let's say, I'm really on par with that strong coverage level on my skin. And Incognito, I mean, did you see the under $5 video? You're like, this is the concealer that's coming in, one of the cheapest in the drugstore for sure, and it's light beige. That's my shade. So I'm gonna give myself like a little swipe in here and a little bit out there. Light beige is a really good shade for me. But yeah, I hope Wet n Wild keeps making this. They've got a very good formula, and it also pairs so well with the Photo Focus foundation. Like when I say I'm having good staying power, it's not just the foundation all over my face, but it's everywhere. So I'm taking this little TikTok Shop double-ended concealer brush thingamajig, and it's got 2 great angled sides. And I'm just taking the smaller of the 2 and I'm dabbing that concealer in. I love it. Dab, dab, dab. And then I can use the bigger side to sort of ensure that it's all fully blended, but it preserves the coverage. I'm not doing a big old buff. I'm getting around my nose, I'm taking care of redness there, getting the chin, and I can swoop over to this side and just make sure that it's all going on smoothly. I just can't even count how many times I've done this combo. I'm seeing it, I'm impressed by it, but yet it's like nothing new to me because I do this all the time. So yeah, Photo Focus Foundation, Incognito Concealer. Your coverage goals will be met. Coming in at number 4, I most definitely have a loose powder that I love from this line, and it's their Photo Focus Translucent Loose Powder. Big old container of that powder. I use this often. It's in my rotation. I feel like, just to be completely honest here, it's not quite as brightening as the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder in Fair. There's a color tone there that's just managing to kind of out-brighten most anything else. But this is still really, really good. Okay, I don't come away feeling dull after this. If I did, this wouldn't be named in the video. So I pick some up and I apply it to my under eye, and it's gonna set, and then any excess you see there, I just kind of blend in / dust away. But yeah, we do a light baking technique here that I sometimes jokingly refer to as microwaving. I'm pressing it in around my nose, like actually really getting in there around the sides of the nostrils. This is going to be a helper to that staying power all day. Get in here. I've got a kitten who wants me to throw her twist tie so she can fetch it. Yeah, if Biscuits comes up here, what you don't realize is there's a game of fetch just ongoing throughout the whole video. So we're patting that in. We are getting mattified as a result of that. I'm taking this Morphe under eye bullet brush and just sweeping that. There's not that much excess here, but I'm kind of working it into the look. My overall skin after applying these certain products is not super tacky, so if you want to put more product all over your skin in the way of a powder, be my guest, but you don't have to. I've definitely had amazing staying power just sticking with this trifecta of products here. Now we're going to come into number 5. You know I gotta name What Shady Beaches bronzer. Color Icon bronzer, so good. It's not just in this color. They have a cooler option. I've talked about it. I'll show it to you. I got all organized the other day in my bronzer and contour drawer. The Sunset Strip Tease, see that? Cooler, lighter, but just look at the skin so far. I mean, we are so even. With the addition of concealer and powder, I feel like we're really at that full coverage place for sure. So using the bronzer, little goes a long way here. This is kind of a uniquely intense shade, I feel. If you're thinking about low-cost bronzers at the drugstore, you could get Rimmel Natural bronzer, which is about this price, maybe $1 less. And I love that stuff. It's more of like standard bronzer, really standard tone that would take my skin tone, for example, bronze it up a little bit, contour softly, but not go too hard. This one can go a little harder, okay? So I'm getting that on my forehead. I'm gonna go in here. And I would just have to say that Wet n Wild has done an amazing job with their powder texture, even though we have some cream products coming out now. Like, they've got cream sticks, they've got that Where's Walnut contour stick. That's good. Yes, there are good things that still aren't gonna get mentioned in this video because it's a top 10 only. But I really think their biggest strength with complexion, like color products, are these powders. This might be one of my favorite tones in the summertime. Around this time of year, I really feel like I'm manufacturing, you know, like a bronze from scratch because my skin is not bronze really at all. But it definitely meshes with the little bronziness in your own skin naturally very well. Number 6 in my top 10 countdown, an Emily Award-winning blush has to get mentioned, the Color Icon blushes. Love these so much. I'm holding up the shades Mellow Wine, which is going to be your deeper, richer, kind of like reddish berry option. And then I also love their Naked Brown, which was new like this past year. They've got other great options for pink, Pinch Me Pink if you like a fresh pink with a little bit of shimmer. Bed of Roses has turned out to be a really good one for me too. I feel like you will be able to find something you like in this range for sure. I did a whole video on Naked Brown and I like made the video revolve around this shade, doing it as cheeks, doing it on eyes. It's a really good neutral blush tone here. It looks like it's not going to be too much. But just wait, just see it going on. There's a toastiness, but yet it's not too warm. Like, I just love it. There's just a little bit of sneaky rosiness that comes out in this, but it is a purely matte blush. All the blushes in this line are going to give you just matte color intensity, except Pinch Me Pink has just a little shimmer, but still not like an abundance of glow in that one either. Naked Brown. Love that. You just gotta love it. Since it's sitting here, what if we just added a smidge of Mellow Wine to this? Mellow Wine's kind of like the OG of this line. I feel like it's been around the longest. I'm just adding a little bit. I won't be able to do it justice just with a light amount. It's giving a little bit more depth, a little bit more rosy. There's an immediate satisfaction with these. I feel bonded to every shade. They're fantastic. Definitely try one if you haven't already. If this would have been like a top 15 maybe, I probably would have ended up naming the Wet n Wild. I'm just blending a little bit here below my blush. I probably would have named the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighter in Precious Petals. However, it just couldn't fit into being a top 10 product for me. It's good, but it's just not quite into that top 10. The next product in the top 10 for me is actually the eyeshadow. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of my brows and then we'll talk eyeshadow. I've done my brows, I put on Milani eyeshadow primer, and now we're to the number 7 spot. I'm definitely without a doubt naming Wet n Wild eyeshadow. I'm holding here just an icon. This is the Nude Awakening 10-pan palette. The fact that they're selling these 10-pan palettes for like $5 and change is just crazy. The quality is so good. The pigment is phenomenal. This is going to be such a classic M look in this video, but like also walking on eggshells. I'm considering 5 and 10-pan palettes in this whole number 7 conversation here. Walking on Eggshells is smaller, so that's a 5-pan palette. If that name sounds super familiar and you remember Walking on Eggshells from back in the day, it was a trio. They made it a quad. It's now a perfectly balanced 5-pan palette for like a natural, easy eye look. Just like dig in, discover, try what's going on in this range because they're doing some really good stuff. But Nude Awakening, I really like how it's got super dark shades. You can get a smoky eye out of this if you want to. You've got mid-tone and light, matte and shimmer. Everything in here is really richly pigmented. I wouldn't say this is one, like if you're a total beginner, like go out and get this. These shades are strong over here. If you're a beginner, get Walking on Eggshells because as a whole, even though it's a pigmented palette, it's not going to take you that dark. But yeah, we're going to jump into this and do a Nude Awakening eye look. I'm going to go into this matte right here. This is almost always my starting point with it. Just this soft kind of khaki color. And we're just working that into the crease softly. You can take it up a little higher if you want to. It's just a perfect way to start things off and get a naturally contoured crease going. Coming over here to the other side, same thing. We're just doing easy back and forth motions with the Profusion crease brush. I call it the crease brush. It's a Firm Blending Eyeshadow ES2, if you were ever wondering. It's sold in a trio with the small pointed brush, and I always link to that trio below whenever I'm linking this brush. It can be found at Walmart, but these brushes are really soft, really well made, and just some of my faves. I can take this matte right up here tapping off a little excess. These are little goes a long way shadows, okay? But I think you'll enjoy this cream color on the border of like your mid-tone crease type thing, because it just makes everything look really softened once you've gone over the edge with that. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my left brow, but half the time when I get it filled in, I look back at it and I think, no, you're not filled in. I think it's because I brush it up at the end and then it actually changes the way the brow looks after I brush it up. Personal problem. Anyways, feeling good about where we're at now. This is a really natural place to be, and keep in mind with almost any eye look I do, there could be different stopping points, right? You could take some of that cream, pop it on your lid right now and have a super natural thing going on. But as I like to do, I like to show you how the depth operates here. I want you to see how pigmented this is. So we have matte brown, matte black, and matte burgundy. And then we have like a kind of a shimmery plum in here too. So I'm gonna wanna come into any of those shades with a flat brush so I really have control over those shades. And we will do burgundy today. Getting some on my brush, noting that when I tap, a little excess does come off. And I'm gonna apply that on the outer corner of my lid, like outer half. When I say they're pigmented, it's just jaw-dropping really, that they're selling them for in the ballpark of $5, give or take. And when you think about how like L'Oreal, for example, L'Oreal, where's your eyeshadow? Wet n Wild's making it and they are slaying it. I'm getting it all the way up to the crease. So when I use my flat brush, 9 times out of 10, when it's getting patted here on the outer part of my lid, I'm making sure I feel the tip of that brush actually coming in and touching my crease, because you want to really take up that space, because soon we're going to bring in a smaller brush and kind of help things really blend out. And so we want shadow to exist up there in the crease area. Small pointed brush. I mentioned a brush that comes with the crease brush as part of a trio. There's also a really tiny flat brush that's in there as well that I don't really use that much, but the small pointed is infinitely handy. And I'm going to go into a little bit of that burgundy, so adding some, but also kind of working with what's existing there. And I'm finding myself doing these little like circular motions, up and out kind of thing. And this is where you build to whatever shape you like to see. But just know that as you reach beyond this bone right here, this brow bone, as you surpass that crease and you start reaching upward, you're creating a look of lift actually, okay? A lifted look, kind of the way false lashes always make us look lifted, because they're taking up that space. They're creating their look above the eye, giving that look of darkness, giving that look of glam, and ultimately lift. So we're creating that same look without wearing false lashes by taking a darker shade and just letting it extend up a little bit further, okay? A little bit beyond just popping this on the lid and barely going anywhere with it. And it doesn't have to be stark. I mean, I'm sure I had some videos closer to the start of my channel where I was doing outer V's and darn it, they look like V's. I feel like things are more, hopefully, more blended now. So like I've applied this, but the story's not over because I'm gonna blend over the edge of what I've done there. And I'm also gonna check. And I'm going to say, did the crease really get everything it needed there? And maybe I need to go back and really hit that crease. Because sometimes as we put this emphasis on blending above the crease, we actually miss the crease. So that's where the depth originates. So that's where it makes sense to always have some darkness. Because that's kind of what we're given the vibe that it's coming out of. If that makes any sense. This is where I'll take just the crease brush we started with, or if you have a bare blending brush you like to use, go for it. Focus on that outer edge and you'll see, you know, there's nothing stark about it, but we do have that depth and we do have that lift. Easy, really easy. These shadows make it so simple. And then I'm gonna go to yet another flat brush that I like to use. This one's also from Morphe. It's just a little more compact than the other. It's absolute perfection for working on the inner part of your lid. A sponge tip applicator could be fine at this stage of the game too. But we've got a variety of different things we can do in terms of shimmer. Like we've got some kind of rose gold shimmers. We've got a champagne-y looking shimmer. I'm gonna go for some of this shade right up here. I feel like it's a little bit brighter than the others, and I'm just going to pop that on the center, or not center, inner lid and let it overlap. So it's kind of like we've got the burgundy and then the rose gold is becoming a factor here now too. And the shimmer isn't wild, but it definitely gives us a little different finish to play with there. And just gently overlapping. You don't have to go all over the lid, just make it meet up with the last thing that went down there. If I could tweak this palette at all, I might create more differentiation between 1, 2, 3, those different shades there. But still, I still love the palette so much. It doesn't really bug me because it comes together to create a look I really end up liking. And then we've got this pearlescent shade right here, just soft pearl, but that's a great little brightener. So pop that in your inner corner, like right around your tear duct. You can use the same brush. And then here's where maybe you take a jumbo shadow stick, you create smudgy liner across the bottom, or maybe you're like, hey, I don't have a separate jumbo shadow stick, just make it work with the one palette. Okay, I hear you. I'm gonna go to this kind of smoky plum that has a little shimmer, and I'm gonna get that right on the tip of my brush. That shade is dark, and I'm gonna apply that on the lower, and I'm gonna like smudge a little bit right on the upper outer corner, okay? So lower lash line, just a teensy bit of that, smudging it like we're doing a little greater than, less than, right on the corner of the eye. Just a little bit on the tip of the brush, smudgy, smudgy, and you can carry some right up top as well. I haven't really done this with this shade with working it up toward the upper lash line, but I'm liking that softness. And I'm working off of the very tip of this small pointed brush. I think that looks really nice. Okay, so there's our eye look with Wet n Wild Nude Awakening. Very classic. It could go darker than what we have here because there are 2 even darker shades that could really like smoke it out, create even more contrast and drama there on the outer corner. But even with just using the burgundy and shearing it out like we did, we create that look of lift for the face that we want. So now we're moving into the number 8 spot. And here's where I name a mascara from Wet n Wild. Yes, for years and years, they have not pleased me on mascara. Then they made the Big Papa one, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty good stuff. And then quite a bit of time passed, and they put out this So Defined very recently. And this is really doing it for me. Definitely the best they've ever made. So the way this one is, it's a rubber bristle curved brush, and it's got a ton of really short bristles. And the name is So Defined, and you're thinking, well, that perfectly fits, right? The short bristles, lots of them. They call it So Defined. It's gonna really define my lashes. But here's the thing they did that I don't even know if they intended to do, but it made it like the best. When this comes out, it's not super cleaned off. I don't know if my camera will even let you see, but there's a decent amount of product sitting on those many fine rubber bristles, and that loads up on my lashes fairly quick, and that's what I need. A pretty fast load up to where I'm not just, you know, straightening out curl that I've worked to achieve. So Defined, I really think can create a big and lengthened lash look. Don't take the name too literally because I think it bulks them up pretty fast. And I like that about this mascara. And I think there's something about the curve to the brush. It's like the mechanism cleaning off the wand as it comes out of the tube is not fully catering to that curve, and so you're getting some extra product there. That's what I find is what makes or breaks a lot of mascaras for me these days, is if they come out too cleaned off and then I gotta spend forever coating. So this one, she got some stuff, and I just got my curl going there, and you'll see. And yet it's not weighing my lashes down, it's not completely undoing my curl, but it's bulking them up more than you might imagine with just a quick initial coat here. See that? Like, I barely even got into my inner lashes, but you see what I mean. And flip your brush around, use the back side of that curve, but just know if you use the inner part of the curve, there's a little like treasure trove of product waiting to be swept through the lashes. Really good look. Now, I haven't experimented with this on my lower lashes. I mean, I know I don't have flaking issues from the top, but unless it's a tubing mascara that I'm really sure of, I'm probably not putting it on the lower lashes. I'm not a huge risk taker. I mean, I don't love roller coasters and I don't love just anything on my lower lashes. Yeah, those 2 ideas definitely go hand in hand for me in terms of danger. Now look at that one side of lashes compared to the other, like, wow. And I may have gotten a few little flecks on my lid, but they can be swept away, so don't get too consumed by that. This has been such a great top 10 so far. Like, I can't get over how we've done the full complexion, that was completely included here. We were able to do, as you're seeing now, a full eye look. And then, yeah, I've still got the 9 and 10 spots for lips. You think you own this table, Biscuits? Sure. And did I mention it's just barely over $5, this mascara? I should have been making a bigger deal all along at the insane prices. If anybody's sitting down and talking about their favorite drugstore products, and Wet n Wild never comes into that conversation, I'm raising a serious eyebrow at that. You have not dug deep. Maybe I'll give you a pass if you don't mention Rimmel or Hard Candy, because maybe they're a little harder to find. I don't know. And the thing about a lot of this Wet n Wild is it's not brand spanking new stuff. Like this mascara might be the newest thing I'm mentioning in this video. Like the Photo Focus has been around for some time now. The Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator, yes, the eyeshadows. I hope they don't let go of any of it. Alrighty, so I've gotten So Defined applied to both eyes, and I stopped there and I snuck in some Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water on the lower lashes, just because if I am doing some kind of smoky, smudgy liner, lower shadow there, I think a little fringe of mascara looks good on the lower lashes. But now we're moving into number 9. Wet n Wild launched an amazing lipstick within the past year, so I should say this isn't the only like newish thing in this video. These soft blur matte lipsticks are so nice. They give a really uniquely light matte pillowy effect to the lips. The smell on them is great. It's like softly sweet vanilla. Love that. The shade I'm Shy, like that's the unbeatable shade. That's the soft red. They have a lot of other great options. You can get coral, you can get nude, you can get berry, but I'm Shy, this color, just on bare lips here. I do have a little bit of remaining balm actually from when I did my skincare. But you're gonna see how this goes across the lips. It's not a heavy matte thickness. It's a light matte kind of veil, but it is full color. Does that make sense? It's lighter, it's softer. It looks more like your lips have maybe been stained like this, not over drying. Like there's a softness as it crosses your lips. And I just love that particular shade, because if you've ever wanted to try red, but you're just stopping short because it seems a little too much for you, the shade I'm Shy. It's so good. Homecoming Queen, if you like berry. Recently I used Nude for Love. Slightly more nude shade. I've just got a handful of them over here that I like. And I just think you're missing out if you don't try that formula. It's not your classic matte lipstick. It is not heavy. Like you'll be astounded by the lightness, and then when you press your lips together. Remember when CoverGirl's selling point with continuous colored lipstick was that it was full of moisture beads that you would feel when you pressed your lips together and you would like reinvigorate the lip color? This actually feels like it has moisture beads in it. You feel it when you press your lips together, okay? So it's not a total absence of hydration here, but absence of shine. I think that's really cool. Okay, I'm up in arms on number 10. I've got 2 things. I really like the Wet n Wild lip oils. I think these are so good, especially the shade called Cocoa Rose. To be honest, it's my one favorite shade out of those. I've got other sheer colors that are pretty good, but this is like reigning supreme. I love how you actually see that color. There's a little shimmer in it. You really see that on the lips. The smell is divine. Like, I love this. But then I thought, like within the past year, and I did a whole video try-on with these MegaSlicks lip glosses. And here I feel like they've kind of pumped up this formula a little bit. Hyaluronic acid, peptides, whatever they want to say they've included in it. Here you've got really a range of finishes. They got some that are more sparkly, some purely creamy, some with a little bit of shimmer, some that are absolutely like metallic lip topper types of vibes. So I want to name this as my top 10. My number 10 pick. But I want to shout out to these saying, if you haven't looked into these in a while, there are new shades, and I'll refer you to the video where I did a really big try on with them and I pointed out favorites and like all that stuff. This is a very well-rounded gloss line, but this is a particular formula that for a little extra moisturization, and especially the look of this Cocoa Rose, I love it. Let me swatch that just on its own, so you can see. You're getting a mauve-y look that really you will see on your lips. And I love that softly sweet scent of the product. It's just lightly sweet, nothing big deal, but I'm gonna put it right on top of I'm Shy. It's gonna knock down the reddish look of I'm Shy a little bit, but I think we're still gonna like it. I like the applicator too. because it's a turned back doe foot, it's applying, but it's not overloading. Don't you love that shine? And a good texture level, a good thickness level on there. But look at just the look as a whole. This is so classic me, like a kind of burgundy eye, a pretty full coverage face, the blush, the lip. None of this was experimental in this video. I am deeply familiar with all these products. I know this look will wear all day for me. I wouldn't even need to touch up anything. Except the lip. That's one point about the soft blur lipsticks, is that they're not in it for the long haul. They're not gonna be wearing all day for you. But end result, couldn't be happier. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and enjoying this top 10 series. Let me know in the comments section what brand you'd like to see featured next. I'm thinking Revlon will need to be talked about soon, but yeah, I want to know what you want to see. So thanks again for your time and your kind comments, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.